We're going to cross now to our correspondent who's standing by for us in Berlin. That's Jessica Saltz for more on what we're expecting to hear in the coming moments. Now, Jessica, now, of course, I understand that Chancellor Angela Merkel has actually cleared her schedule in light of today's events.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, everyone in Germany really just sort of reeling from shock from this. It's a really obviously difficult thing to understand and even begin to digest. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel has cancelled all of her planned meetings, which included a meeting for Hollande and Mariana Rajoy, and she is expected to give a speech at some point to address the awful crash that has happened. That obviously was a German company, Germanwings, the Lufthansa subsidiary. The Foreign Office, the German Foreign Office, has set up a telephone number for anyone who is worried about one of their family members or friends who might be on board. And the Foreign Minister, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, spoke out about an hour ago. He said that his thoughts and feelings were with those people affected, friends and families of those people who have not believed to have survived that awful crash in the south of France. And the Transport Minister, the German Transport Minister, Alexander Dobrindt, is on his way to the scene of the crash. He is saying he is heading there now. There are already German authorities, he said, that are already closer to the scene, making their way there. It apparently is quite difficult to reach, but he said that they will be going there as soon as possible and obviously trying to investigate what exactly happened.
Well, yes, indeed, and that for the moment that appears to be it's quite shocking. Everyone's just mentioning how quite unusual this is, considering all of the names involved in terms of an aviation. We've got Airbus, of course, Germany and France are major players. They work together in terms of Airbus manufacturing airplanes. We've got Lufthansa, a major airline, and so it's quite. People are really going to be focusing on what could have caused this crash, when really all around the board there are such strong safety records concerning everyone involved.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, as I said, not only such a shock because obviously this is just so horrible and so devastating, but it is completely unprecedented. This is something that Germany hasn't had to deal with before. Lufthansa, it's the national airline, which although has annoyed German passengers, certainly over recent months with its strikes, has a very strong safety record and always, even throughout strikes, said that its safety would never be compromised. And the same goes for its subsidiary, Germanwings, which is very trusted and held in very high regard. And Lufthansa calls it its low-cost airline, but it must be said that Germanwings isn't as low-cost as many other airlines. It's still quite expensive, relatively expensive to buy tickets when you can compare it to other airlines such as Ryanair or even EasyJet. It's sometimes about twice as much as that, and it's because of the high quality. It's one of the highest quality low-cost airlines, and for that reason it's always run quite well, and it's always been held in very high regard by Germans, and everyone here just absolutely reeling from the shock of it, and as I said, completely unprecedented.
Now, we spoke with a correspondent in Barcelona who said that a crisis center has been set up there, the airport there. Can you tell us what we know, what measures are being taken there in Germany and at which airport?
Well, interestingly, even as media reports were starting to come out about the crash, it was, according to reports from Dusseldorf Airport, still business as usual. Even after the crash, about an hour after the crash had happened, people still milling around, going to their flights, buying coffees. Nobody really knew that the crash had happened, and in fact, even on the board for the flight, it didn't have any information. And so there were actually quite a lot of people waiting for their friends and family to arrive on this flight. It is thought that over the last couple of hours, these people have been taken into a private area so that they will be updated on what exactly is happening by the airline. So at the moment, it's thought friends and family members are still at the airport where they will be kept up to date on events as they unfold.
And now I understand. So the plane, once again, we know that it took off at roughly 9:55. From Barcelona and headed for Dusseldorf. How popular is this route from Germans there on this aircraft?
I think it's a very popular German route. I mean, well, Germans travel to Spain quite a lot. I think this is a route that's done about 2 or 3 times a day, usually by Germanwings, to Dusseldorf, which is one of the main airports that Germanwings flies to. It actually flies there more than it does to the German capital. So yes, quite a lot of Germans expected to be on board, a lot of perhaps holidaymakers or people visiting friends and family in Barcelona, which is a popular holiday destination for many Germans. But of course, we don't know yet. We haven't had any details about the exact passenger list. And as I said, the Foreign Office keeps reiterating that anyone concerned should really get in contact with them so that they can be kept up to date.